President Trump says a second meeting between himself, Putin, and Zelensky is possible.
There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first, because the first is I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting, but it's setting the table for the second meeting.
He's setting the table. Former U.S. Navy Admiral Mike Hewitt joins me now. Admiral, President Trump says he thinks he's going to make a deal with Putin, although perhaps expectations are being ramped back a little bit. But what do you think?
Well, I think what we've always known about President Trump is he's not going to show his cards. But I do think if you look at his success over the last 7 months that set the conditions for this meeting, he has clearly put himself into a position of strength, both on the home front with his economic deals, but even more importantly, his foreign policy successes that we've seen. He's brought 5 different conflicts to an end in his short time in office. So when I think Vladimir Putin measures who he's dealing with, he's going to understand a president that is clearly committed to the first thing, which is stopping the fighting. Until we get to a ceasefire, any conversation about territory, about whether they join NATO, about frozen assets, will all have to happen once the fighting ends. And I think the last thing I would mention is President Trump getting NATO to go from 2 to 5% of its GDP is an enormous signal that we are not going to allow this war to continue.
Next one for you, Admiral. I want you to take a look at this. It's the New York Times reporter Bret Stephens who says the president should give Robert Kraft a call. Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, knows what it's like to be fleeced by the Russian president. In Kraft's account of an incident, he said, "I put my hand out, and he put his Super Bowl ring in his pocket, and 3 KGB guys got around him, and he walked out. The ring disappeared." You know what? A lot of words used to describe Vladimir Putin. Sneaky, of course, being one of them. I mean, you know, should he talk to Kraft? I mean, Trump is his own man for sure, but let's not make no bones about it. Vladimir Putin is a tough customer.
Trump knows exactly who he's dealing with.
Yeah.
And the one thing for certain I would say is whatever agreement they come to, Vladimir Putin is already planning on how to violate that agreement before it's ever signed. And that's exactly the position that President Trump will come at this. And again, because he's coming at this conversation with a singular focus, which is to stop the fighting. But he also has tools that at his disposal that if Putin continues the violence, and you've seen spikes in violence every time he talked to Trump over the last 6 months, then you would see a spike in violence in Ukraine. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But I think President Trump has been thinking about this meeting for months, and I believe he is prepared to get the outcome he is looking for. And if he doesn't, then I think you're going to see the full toolbox of sanctions and additional influence against the Russian people.
Very good. We'll have to leave it there. Mike Hewitt, Admiral, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.